Good evening. I would like to call this meeting back to order at 7 p.m. City Attorney Smith, is there any reportable action from closed session?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Direction was given on the items listed, but no reportable action was taken.
Thank you so much. We will now begin our meeting as we always do with a prayer and a pledge in that order. First, I would like to invite Jan Charetz of the First Christ Scientists in Laguna Niguel to provide this evening's invocation, followed by Brownie and Junior Girl Scout Troops 2631. All rise.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening in gratitude for your everlasting guidance in all matters. This body of leaders is committed to making sound decisions based on wisdom, creativeness, and on meeting the practical needs of our city. We ask that you keep your divine judgment ever near in their hearts and minds. Thanks be to God, who in Christ always leads us in triumphal procession, and through us spreads the fragrance of the knowledge of Him everywhere. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jan. And now the Brownie and Junior Girl Scout Troop 2631 to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention audience, color guard advance. Color guard present the colors. Would the Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and audience please join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Listen to the mayor.
All right, girls, great job. We're going to join you down there in just a moment.
I'll hold your paper. Go, stand in the middle. Audience may be seated.
Donna. Thank you, Donna. All right, girls, great job. That was a wonderful flag presentation. We're so grateful that you are here in Laguna Niguel City Hall. This is your City Hall, and so we're so honored that you are here. I'd like each of you to tell us your name, what grade you're in, and your favorite part about being a Girl Scout.
Hello, my name is Catherine. I'm in 4th grade, and my favorite part about Girl Scouts was having the opportunity to go outside to camp.
All right, great.
Hi, my name is Emery, and I'm in 3rd grade, and my favorite part about Girl Scouts is getting to help people. Hi, my name is Maddie. I'm in 4th grade. I go to Hidden Hills Elementary School, and my favorite part about Girl Scouts is selling cookies.
Hi, I'm Fiona, and I am in 3rd grade, and my favorite part of Girl Scouts is getting to eat cookies.
Hi, my name is Kara. I'm in 2nd grade, and my favorite thing to do in Girl Scouts is to have fun with my friends.
Great job. And do we have any troop leaders here with us tonight? Please come on down and introduce yourself. We don't want to forget about the parents who make this all happen. Why don't you tell us your name and if you'd like your grade?
My name is Lindsay. My grade is too far to, to go, and I go with this one, Emery.
My name is Kelly, and we are Troop 2631, and yeah, we're not saying the grade.
All right, well, thanks for everything you do to support these young girls and support our community. Let's get a photograph before we end our flag presentation. recess.
Color guard dismissed.
All right, we have no presentations for this evening, so we'll go back to our seats and begin the business of the meeting. We will now move on to public comments. Any person wishing to address the City Council is respectfully asked to complete and present a gold-colored request to speak form. These forms are available on the counter that is located near the entry door of council chambers. Please be aware that the time limit will be 3 minutes for each person. This is a time for members of the public to share comments with the City Council. The Brown Act does not allow the City Council to respond to speakers at the meeting. However, City staff will follow up and respond to questions or provide information as needed. Speakers will be called in order from the request to speak forms. To allow equal time for speakers, minutes may not be given to another speaker. You may have another person read your written statement. City Clerk Assistant, I have one request to speak in front of me for our budget discussion item. Are there any more requests to speak?
There are none.
Okay, for that one request to speak for the budget discussion, we will wait until we get to that point of the meeting to hear that speaker. Seeing as there are none for general public comments, public comment is now closed. We will move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items to be pulled from the consent calendar? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the consent calendar? Motion made by Councilmember Otto, seconded by Councilmember Jennings. Members, please vote. The consent calendar is adopted 5-0. Thank you. We will now move on to our public hearing item. Our public hearing item this evening is the adoption of fiscal years 2025 to 2027 operating and capital improvement budget and approval of updates to the fee schedule for Public Works and Crown Valley Community Center and facility fees. City Manager Letourneau, will you please introduce this item?
Thank you. My pleasure. Mayor and council members, it's a pleasure to present to you tonight the operating and capital improvement budget for fiscal years 2025 through 2027. This year's motto is excellence in every endeavor. It reflects the city's commitment of consistently striving to achieve the highest standards in all actions, activities, projects, and pursuits. The city's dedication to excellence involves an intentional commitment to quality, continuous improvement, and a pledge to do the very best in every task, whether big or small. A mindset of excellence in every endeavor is deeply rooted in every staff member, community partner, and volunteer. And it has resulted in an organization and a community that is highly desirable, highly achieving, and highly successful. The city's devotion to excellence has long been a pillar of the city's high level of municipal service delivery, and that is again reflected in this budget. This is the city's first biennial budget, and it represents the achievement of a long-term goal. The transition from an annual budget cycle to a biennial budget cycle illustrates the city's commitment to optimal operational efficiency, long-term strategic planning, and assurance of responsible fiscal principles and management. This budget was built upon our foundation, which is our mission, vision, and values. It is our strategic plan that sets our goals, our objectives, and strategies that guide our decision-making and our work plan. Specifically, this budget provides the highest quality services and programs to the community. It carries out the goals and objectives identified in the adopted strategic plan, and both maintains and upgrades the city's existing infrastructure. In both fiscal years, the operating and capital improvement budget is balanced at $80.8 million in fiscal year 25-26 and $82.5 million in fiscal year 26-27. This budget utilizes a combined $2.7 million that we set aside in the city's general fund infrastructure reserves to fund the Crown Valley Widening Project and the repairs of La Paz Road. Now I would like to turn over this presentation to Finance Director Agrilius, who will present an overview of the budget. And following his presentation, Public Works Director Scott will present the Capital Improvement Program budget.
Thank you, City Manager Letourneau. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. It's great to be with you tonight. It is my privilege to present the City of Laguna Niguel's first ever biannual budget, as you heard City Manager Letourneau say. This is the fiscal year's 2025 to 2027 operating capital improvement budget. And as in past years, it truly takes a village to get us to this point, but more so for this budget, as the city staff has been working on this document since October 2024. Our administrative staff played a crucial role this year in getting this document in front of you all. And I'd like to thank Kevin O'Connor for being with me during the entire budget process. Marina Bogosian was also asked to complete several projects that directly impacted the final outcome. And Fabian Bravo tied it all together and made the document visually interesting and beautiful, as you can see as you search through it. In addition, we met with each department in March to discuss their individual requests, which may have included several individuals from each department. Everyone was laser focused not only on putting together a great document, but on putting the City of Laguna Niguel on an even more fiscally sustainable path going forward. So thank you to the individual department heads. And of course, our City Council is always involved in the budget process, with the kickoff really beginning with the strategic plan workshop in March. The strategic plan contains the City Council's goals and objectives for the upcoming year, along with longer-term strategies. As we review this document, you will notice that the city's strategic plan is one of the central focuses of this budget. Additionally, we will be submitting this document to the Government Finance Officers Association for consideration of the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, as we have done in the past 2 years. We anticipate that this budget will also receive that award. We'll begin tonight by looking at our general fund overview for both fiscal year 25-26 and 26-27. As is always the case here in Laguna Niguel, the general fund budgets are operationally balanced in both years of this budget. In fiscal year 25-26, revenues of $56.5 million exceed expenditures of $54.6 million, resulting in an operational surplus of $1.9 million. And in fiscal year 26-27, revenues of $58.2 million will outpace expenditures of $56.0 million, totaling $2.2 million of operating surplus. The city purposefully budgets conservatively, and each department executes within their budget, which is why the city is able to consistently project and realize operational surpluses. It is why this year's budget theme is excellence in every endeavor. The City of Laguna Niguel staff live that standard every day. From there, city staff is recommending a portion of those surpluses be transferred to the Capital Improvement Program to provide funding for improvements to the city's infrastructure. In total, staff is recommending $2.7 million be transferred to the CIP fund. Lastly, with the remaining surplus, staff recommends City Council allocate $381,601 in fiscal year 25-26 and $1,007,421 in 26-27 to the infrastructure reserves. With these budgets, the city is able to provide all the services that make Laguna Niguel such a desirable and vibrant community, while also utilizing excess general fund monies to fund capital improvements, while still having money left over for savings. Oh, and let's not forget, this has all been done without issuing any debt of any kind. This page highlights the revenue trends in the general fund. The city made it a decision to be even more conservative in the sales tax revenue projections due to the uncertainty in the economy. However, property tax revenues continue to increase, which is good news for the city, as property tax revenues is by far the largest individual component of revenue for the city's general fund. Property tax revenues represent 53% of revenue in fiscal year 25-26 and 54% in fiscal year 26-27. As can be seen in the bar graph on this page, property tax revenues have outpaced sales tax revenues and all other revenues over the past 10 years. So although sales tax revenues are estimated to decrease in fiscal year 25-26, the city is less reliant on sales tax revenues because property tax revenues have continued to increase by over 5% annually over the past 10 years. General fund operating expenditures are projected to increase by $2.0 million in fiscal year 25-26, or 3.7% over the prior year. The increase is primarily driven by a $1.2 million or 6.8% increase in the contract with the County of Orange to provide police services. The expenditure total in fiscal year 26-27 is estimated to be $56.0 million, an increase of $1.4 million from the fiscal year 25-26 amount. Director Scott will be providing additional information on the specific CIP projects that are included in the fiscal years 25-26 and 26-27 CIP plan, but I wanted to provide a summary of the 5-year projections. The 5-year CIP plan is $75.6 million, and 88% of that funding is being proposed to be allocated to streets and transportation-related projects. However, the good news is that the city will be able to fund the $75.6 million CIP plan by utilizing a variety of funding sources. Approximately 38% of the total plan will be funded through grants. City staff, and in particular our public works staff, has been extremely successful in obtaining outside funding. The grants essentially act as a discount on city projects. The city will only be paying for 62% of CIP projects over the next 5 years. In addition to that, the annual allotments for gas tax, SB1, and Measure M2 funds will account for another 42% of project costs. In total, the city's general fund will only be contributing $13.6 million or 18% of the total project costs over the next 5 years. This budget estimates the city will take $2.7 million out of reserves, while the other $10.9 million will come from projected general fund operating surpluses. This is a sustainable financial plan that addresses critical infrastructure needs while utilizing annual operating surpluses to fund capital projects. As was stated previously, this budget anticipates drawing down $2.7 million from the city's infrastructure reserves. And this is on top of the $2.5 million already approved in the fiscal year 24-25 budget. In total, the city is projected to draw down $5.2 million from the infrastructure reserves from fiscal years 24-25 through fiscal year 26-27. However, as can be seen on this slide, the city's projected ending fund balance at June 30, 2027 is just $316,293 lower than it was in fiscal year 22-23. You may be asking yourself how this is possible. Well, it's through conservative budgeting practices, adhering to the city's strategic plan, and depositing annual operating surpluses into the infrastructure reserve. This budget continues that important component, with a combined $1.4 million being deposited back into the city's infrastructure reserves. The city's financial reserves policy requires the city to maintain a minimum of 50% of annual general fund operating expenditures in reserves. Based on the proposed fiscal years 2025 through 2027 budget, the minimum reserve is $27.3 million in fiscal year 25-26 and $28.0 million in fiscal year 26-27. As can be seen in this graphic, the city will easily meet those minimum reserve levels, with the fiscal year 25-26 reserves representing 92% of operating expenditures and fiscal year 26-27 at 89% of operating expenditures. The number of full-time positions is not changing with this budget, as both fiscal year 26-27 and 26-27 include 66 full-time positions. There are 3 reclassifications proposed as part of this budget, and the staff report for this meeting contains more specific information on either annual costs or cost savings as a result of these recommendations. In summary, this budget includes a reclassification of the aquatic supervisor to a recreation coordinator, a management analyst to community engagement manager, and a management assistant to the city manager. The assistant to the city manager is a new classification, and the job description has been included as an attachment to the staff report for this meeting. Additionally, the city conducted a salary study for 6 Orange County Employees Association classifications. There's a new law that requires the city to report vacancy information. Effective January 1st, 2025, AB 2561 requires public agencies on an annual basis to present varying levels of information at a public meeting focusing on employment-related areas such as job vacancy, recruitment status, and retention efforts. As of May 2nd, 2025, there were 5 full-time vacancies citywide. Of these 5 full-time vacancies, 2, which is equivalent to 8.7%, are represented in the maintenance, clerical, and technical unit, and 3, equivalent to 11.1%, are represented in the middle management, professional, and supervisory unit of the Orange County Employees Association. Currently, the city is in the process of recruiting for these 5 full-time vacancies. As part of the recruitment process, the city implements recruitment strategies to adhere to government hiring best practices and compliance requirements to ensure fairness, transparency, and accessibility. The city remains committed to continuously prioritizing employee retention by fostering and funding employee engagement, recognition and wellness programs, peer-to-peer recognition programs, professional development opportunities, a tuition reimbursement program, and a highly competitive total compensation package encompassing salary and benefit offerings included in the adopted Memorandum of Understandings with the OCEA. A master fee schedule has been incorporated into this budget in accordance with strategy number 1 from the fiscal sustainability goal in the strategic plan. Additionally, the city performed fee studies for the Public Works fees and the Crown Valley Community Center and facilities use fees. The recommended changes that were developed as a result of those fee studies have been incorporated into this budget. The city's goal is to perform a fee study for each set of fees once every 5 years. As such, there will be additional studies conducted during fiscal year 25-26. However, to be conservative, no anticipated increases have been included in the fiscal year 26-27 operating budget. This now brings us to the updated 5-year forecast, which incorporates all the information we've been discussing thus far tonight. The 5-year forecast continues to focus on goal number 2 from the strategic plan, fiscal sustainability. As was stated earlier, the city is projected to contribute $10 million in operating surpluses to the CIP fund over the next 5 years. Additionally, the projections included in this forecast are conservative, and historically, the city has outperformed projections included in the 5-year forecast. Each year in the 5-year forecast includes making additional deposits into the city's infrastructure reserve, resulting in a 2030 estimated fund balance of $50.7 million. And that amount represents 83% of projected operating expenditures in fiscal year 29-30. That amount will continue to easily meet the city's minimum reserve requirements of 50% of annual operating expenditures. Mayor, City Council, thank you. That concludes my portion of the presentation. I'd now like to turn the time over to our Public Works Director, Jackie Scott, to discuss the city's pavement management program and the capital improvement program.
Thank you, Director Agrelius, and good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Each year, I'd like to take a moment and thank the staff that assisted in the outstanding success of the Public Works Department. I have the privilege of working with an exceptional team within Public Works and with the other departments across the city. These strong partnerships bring success to the city and to its residents. I'm going to start this evening's presentation with providing an update to the city's pavement management program. A pavement management program assists policymakers in the development of roadway budgets and ensures compliance with OCTA requirements and Measure M2 eligibility. Recently, as part of the strategic plan update, the City Council adopted a goal of achieving and maintaining an overall PCI of 80 across the city's roadway network. PCI is the condition index of the roadway on a scale from 0 to 100. Pavements deteriorate over time based upon age, weather conditions, truck loading, and other factors. Currently, 63% of the city's roadways are considered in the good or very good range, with approximately 37% that fall below the acceptable range and are considered fair poor or very poor condition. A successful pavement management program has both a preventative maintenance element to keep good rated streets in the good category and a pavement rehabilitation program to restore streets that are in the fair or poor categories. Currently under construction are zones 5 and 6 of the residential annual resurfacing program, also known as the Slurry Seal program. This project will install 4.2 million square feet of pavement improvements to 114 residential streets. Residential Zone 7 in the southernmost part of the city is planned for construction in the spring and summer of 2027. The update and final design for the Alicia Parkway Highlands to Crown Valley Pavement Rehabilitation Project is scheduled for completion in fiscal year 25-26. This project is scheduled for construction phase in fiscal year 26-27. Future arterial roadways that are planned for rehabilitation include Paseo de Colinas, Golden Lantern, Highlands Avenue, and Camino del Avion. Since many of these arterial roadways are already substantially deteriorated, Public Works will be patching, crack sealing, and conducting localized repairs as part of the regular preventative maintenance program budgeted annually. These improvements will maintain the integrity of the street until the project is designed and ready for construction. Next, I'll provide a presentation on the city's proposed CIP. The list of proposed projects spans 2 fiscal years and includes 3 park projects, 11 street projects, 3 transportation projects, and 1 facility project totaling approximately $49.5 million. The list of projects is expansive and is about double the average project list adopted in the annual capital improvement program. This is in large part due to the urgent need to repair La Paz Road, the timing of grant funds available for Crown Valley Parkway westbound widening, and several other grants awarded to the city to address long-term critical infrastructure needs. The purpose of the sports field natural grass turf replacement program is to provide a schedule and funding for the rehabilitation or replacement of grass turf at city-owned sports facilities. This program includes removal of the existing grass turf, repairs to the sports field, including filling of any divots, and leveling along the drainage and irrigation improvements. Funding allocated in fiscal year 25-26 will replace the natural grass turf at Crown Valley Park, Marina Hills Park, and Niguel Hills Middle School. The Accessible Pedestrian Signal Push Button Project is an annual program funded through the city's CDBG allocation to upgrade the pedestrian phase of the traffic signals to meet current ADA standards, which includes an audible function for the hearing impaired. To date, the city has upgraded 57 intersections, and this year's allocation will upgrade an additional 5 intersections. The Residential Overlay Program will provide asphalt resurfacing for failed residential streets that are damaged beyond the slurry seal repair. This annual project addresses streets that are severely cracked and require rehabilitation or a grind and overlay to return the street to a new condition. The recently completed construction for this year's project improves 6 streets within residential zones 5 and 6. The next phase will focus on failed streets within residential zone 7. The Sidewalk Improvement Program is intended to remove and replace sections of sidewalk that are broken, cracked, or no longer meet the requirements of ADA. This annual project is funded through CDBG and typically starts construction each spring. The Traffic Signal Equipment Upgrades Program was initiated 2 years ago and will replace traffic signal cabinets and computerized hardware that no longer functions with technology used in modern traffic signal equipment. This year's program will replace 2 to 3 cabinets and the internal equipment needed to reliably run traffic signals. The Residential Annual Resurfacing Program, otherwise known as the Slurry Seal Program, is scheduled for construction in Residential Zone 7 during the spring and summer 2027. This program is a critical element of the city's overall pavement management program and maintains the residential streets in good condition. The Major Arterial Rehabilitation Program is designed to improve pavement condition and restore major arterial roadways such as Crown Valley Parkway, Alicia Parkway, and Golden Lantern. For fiscal year 25-26, the design plans for Alicia Parkway from Highlands to Crown Valley Parkway will be updated and completed. Construction is anticipated in fiscal year 26-27. Staff is in the process of completing and submitting a grant application for federal funding to assist with overall project costs. The city should receive notification this fall if we are successful in obtaining these grant funds. The bus shelter replacement project is currently under design. On this slide is a rendering of the new shelter. There are 34 new shelters that will be installed along Crown Valley Parkway, Golden Lantern, and Alicia Parkway. The project will be ready for bidding phase this fall, and construction is anticipated to start in the summer of 2026. The Information Technology Upgrades Project will deploy a new storage area network appliance and 2 virtual server hosts. These upgrades will enhance system performance, improve security, and support the long-term reliability of the city's internal servers. The Crown Valley Westbound Widening Project will add a 4th westbound lane on Crown Valley Parkway from the I-5 southbound off-ramp to Cabot Road, completing the planned improvements on the north side. The project requires the widening of Oso Creek Bridge and the overhead bridge spanning the railroad, improvements at the Crown Valley and Forbes Road intersection, installation of raised medians, and a pavement rehabilitation from I-5 to Cabot Road. The Alicia Parkway Regional Traffic Signal Synchronization Project includes signal timing and synchronization of the traffic signals along 10 miles of Alicia Parkway and substantial equipment upgrades of the traffic signals. This project will connect to the future traffic management center located at City Hall. The Cabot Road Regional Traffic Signal Synchronization Project includes traffic signal synchronization and equipment upgrades for Cabot Road. Participating agencies include Caltrans, Laguna Hills, and Mission Viejo. New fiber optic cable, a new traffic signal cabinet, and controllers are just a few of the planned improvements. The La Paz Road Regional Traffic Signal Synchronization Project includes traffic signal synchronization and equipment upgrades for La Paz Road. Participating agencies include Aliso Viejo, Laguna Hills, Caltrans, and Mission Viejo. Equipment upgrades include battery backup units, CCTV cameras that provide connection back to the traffic management center, and upgrades to the vehicle detection. The Oso Creek Trail active transportation enhancements will provide trail and sidewalk enhancements near the train station. The improvements are funded by a federal Complete Streets grant and will include an extension to the Oso Creek Trail and a new sidewalk that serves businesses and residential properties along South Forbes Road. Currently, the project is in the environmental clearance phase, and an RFP for final design will be issued this fall. The Sports Field Synthetic Turf Replacement Program will replace the synthetic turf at Bear Brand Sports Park in fiscal year 26-27. The synthetic turf at Bear Brand was last replaced approximately 10 years ago and is at the end of its useful life. The La Paz Road Mobility Enhancements and Permanent Repair Project is about 50% complete with the project approval and environmental document preparation phase. This critical phase is required as part of the overall $15.5 million LTCAP grant and will provide the necessary environmental clearances needed to construct and permanently repair the roadway. A request for proposal for final design will be issued this winter. The Open Space Rehabilitation Project will enhance the health, resilience, and functionality of the city's wetland ecosystem. The Irvine Ranch Conservancy will be the lead agency for the receipt of pending Transportation Corridor Agency grant funding and will also oversee the project construction and maintenance activities. The Free Summer Trolley is entering its 4th year of summer service and has proven to be a successful connection for Laguna Niguel residents to Pacific Coast Highway and adjacent cities' trolley services. This summer, the trolley runs May 22nd through September 1st, on Thursdays through Sundays, and on holidays. Earlier this year, the city received grant funding to add a new North Line service with 5 new stops, which extends service to the Metrolink station. The transfer stop between the North Line and the South Line is located at Crown Valley Park. A public outreach campaign is underway to advertise the free summer trolley and the newly added stops. That concludes my presentation. I will now turn this over to City Manager Letourneau.
Thank you so much. Mayor and Council, as you can see, we are beaming with pride to present you with this budget that reflects our unwavering commitment to providing excellence in every endeavor. This biennial budget is not just a financial plan, it's a framework for an even brighter future. Our strategic planning efforts and intentional investments in key goals are designed to deliver long-term benefits, ensuring that we meet the highest standards in all that we do. Providing excellence in every endeavor is always a deliberate and purposeful process. Achieving this level of excellence is never by coincidence. Thank you to you, Mayor, and to the City Council for your leadership, trust, and support. This budget is the result of a team-based and collaborative effort that involves employees from all departments and at all levels of the organization. Thank you to the city's leadership team and to each of the departments, budget liaison staff members who participated in this year's budget process. And a special thank you to Finance Director Agrilius, who spent many hours preparing this document. Staff recommends that you adopt Resolution 2025-1500, approving the city's fiscal years 2025-2027 operating and capital improvement budget, that you adopt Resolution 2025-1501, which amends portions of Resolution 2023-1434 to add the salary ranges for our new classification of assistant to the city manager and add the salary range for the existing unfunded classification of community engagement manager. Adopt a salary resolution 2025-1502 relating to updating salary ranges for designated classification included in the OCEA maintenance, clerical, and technical unit and the management professional supervisory unit. That you hold the public hearing and adopt resolution 2025-1503, approving and adopting the master fee schedule for services and charges for various municipal activities. You adopt the resolution 2025-1504, establishing our GAN limit for the city of Laguna Niguel for fiscal years 2025-2026. Do you commit $381,101 for fiscal year 25-26 and the $1,009,421 for fiscal year 26-27 operating budget surpluses to the infrastructure replacement and deferred maintenance reserve? That you authorize the $1.4 million from the infrastructure replacement and deferred maintenance reserve for fiscal year 25-26 to be used on the Crown Valley Parkway widening project, and you authorize $1.2 million from the infrastructure replacement and deferred maintenance reserve in fiscal year 26-27 to be used on the La Paz Road mobility enhancement and repair project. And that concludes our presentation this evening, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you so much. That was an excellent and thorough presentation. Based on that presentation, are there any questions from the council? Seeing none, we will move on to our public hearing. I now open the public hearing. I have one request to speak from City Clerk Assistant. Did we receive any more?
No, Mayor.
Okay, great. Our speaker is Mary Jane Foley.
Thanks, fell asleep. City Council and staff, it's my pleasure to be here to bring up an issue related to the ordinance 2025-235, and that is the designation fire hazard severity zones. This morning I got a call from one of my neighbors who's on the Homeowners Association Board of Directors and another director, asking me to come here tonight and talk about this. And I said, I don't even know what the agenda is, but anyway, I said, you have to send me your comments you would make if you were able to come tonight. So I'll briefly go over them, and then I have a few comments. So Corey Johnson, who I think is the chairman of the Homeowners Association, wanted to talk about the Salt Creek Corridor. It appears to have never had a fuel modification program in the area, and we are now a very high fire risk. Over the years, these are her words, over the years the city appears to be doing less and less to prevent fire risk. This year the fire road was completely grown over. Recently 2 workers with weed whackers cleared a very narrow road and didn't do a good job. And she says that the city has an emergency fire fund and hope it could be used to help our community with fire mitigation. The other board member said, our community is losing insurance, and that's true. It's becoming an issue because we're in a high fire designation. Fire trucks cannot, when the fire road hasn't been fixed in a couple of years, because I abut the South Salt Creek corridor, and I've noticed how it's grown over and the weeds are pretty high. And I've complained a little bit and to one of the public works people who was great in getting them out there. So she said they need to move more away from the road, 50 feet. This is just, incidental comments about what's going on in the corridor. And then she complains that Nagel Road, Beacon Hill has been moving all the trees, but the city hasn't done that. There's a lot of fire brush and trees that are falling over and needs attention. My comments as a homeowner is that I really appreciate your program that and that lets people know that they have to clear their slopes. If they don't clear them, the city will do it and charge them. Now, I'm not sure you're enforcing that, but that's the best thing you can do for us that live along the corridor. Vitally important. And
Mary Jane. Mary Jane, your 3 minutes is up, and I'd give you a couple more seconds, but they turn off the microphone at 3 minutes, and we got to keep it at 3. So if you have one more sentence just to wrap it up, please go ahead so we can hear you.
I did have the fire specialist prevention guy come out. It's fabulous. I'm lobbying the homeowners to do that. But that grant that you got for OSO Open Space, perhaps whoever is doing this mandate for these high fire zones will have grants that you could look into to help with Salt Creek and some of the other areas. That's it. Thank you so much for your attention.
Well, thank you for coming down to speak and share your opinions. I have on the slip that you filled out that you were going to speak on public hearing item number 1, which is our budget, but it seemed like that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I think we all know you were referring to consent calendar item number 8 with the fire hazard severity zones. And thank you for your comments. We had a discussion about the fire hazard severity zones last time, and those are set by the state, and nothing we can do about it. I mean, we can increase the number of severity zones in the city, but we have to adopt at a bare minimum what CAL FIRE has designated to be severity zones here in our city. And so we're mandated by state law to do that. But I definitely understand your concerns, and thank you for speaking today.
The message is, please help do your part in the Salt Creek corridor.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. I will now close the public hearing, seeing as there are no more public speakers. Is there council discussion? Anybody would like to speak? Councilmember Jennings?
Thank you very much. I am so very proud of this document, another wonderful budget. This budget allows us to continue delivering the high-quality programs and services our community expects, while also advancing numerous capital improvement projects that enhance safety, infrastructure, and quality of life. Thanks to the careful planning, conservative financial management, and a clear vision for the future, we're able to meet today's needs while investing in tomorrow. I want to thank our incredible staff, Finance Director Agrelius and your team, all of our department heads and your team, our admin team, our city manager and assistant city manager for your diligent work and dedication to responsible stewardship of public funds. Together, we're ensuring that Laguna Niguel remains a fiscally sound, vibrant, and thriving community. So very proud of this 2-year budget that reflects our commitment to fiscal responsibility and excellence in every endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Winstead.
Yeah, thank you. So I wholeheartedly agree with everything that Councilmember Jennings said. Not going to reiterate any of that because it was all great and don't have to continue. But I did want to point out, I do appreciate the focus on infrastructure, making sure that that's well maintained because our city is aging. And I also appreciate the conservative assumptions that were used in creating the 5-year financial forecast. So those I have highlighted and circled and stars and smiley faces and a little heart around stuff, little exaggeration, but on page 11 of the staff report, those are all those bullet points. Great. So thank you for doing that and doing those conservative budgets. And I guess just to make sure that our residents' concerns from Ms. Foley, Corey Johnson, their neighbors, and the email we received from Mr. and Mrs. Casey on the weed abatement program and the very high fire hazard severity zones around the Salt Creek corridor. I appreciate that the staff is making sure that we maintain OCFA standards, and I just want to make sure that that is done, and that the people that are contracted with the city do the job. That's my only concern. I'm not saying go above and beyond, just make sure that the standards are being upheld, because it is concerning if when you're having residents saying fire roads are blocked and so forth. Now, is that true? I haven't personally gone out there and checked, but they live there, so just maybe double checking on making sure that the work is getting done. And I'm looking forward to seeing the La Paz design submissions from the RFP this fall or winter, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm done.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Councilmember-
may I comment on the weed abatement?
Yes, City Manager Letourneau.
Thank you. I want to assure everybody we take our weed abatement very, very seriously. One, for our own city property, but also for enforcing, that was brought up by Ms. Foley, enforcing this citywide. So it's a very diligent effort. The enforcement citywide is done by a combination of code enforcement along in partnership with OCFA. And we do that for our own property as well. So we will absolutely relook at this area and ensure that we've met all the standards. But that process is happening right now. This time of year is when we do the weed abatement cleanup. And we had some people reach out to us the other day, and it was actually scheduled for this week. Timely, but I wanted to assure you we take it seriously. We'll follow up and make sure, absolutely, we will double check the area that she brought up as well.
Thank you. Councilmember Otto.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your presentations. You all did an amazing job on the budget. I'm proud to support it. We have a strong financial position here in Laguna Niguel. You've presented a balanced budget with no new taxes and no debt. And I always maintain those two positions, and I'm glad that we're all in agreement on that. And we have focused our CIP on roads. 88% of our CIP is on roads over the next 5 years, and that is likely because we have to fix La Paz, and we're going to be hopefully helping with some congestion by widening Crown Valley Parkway down there by the freeway. And so those are all things, I think that's a great place to put our money. I mentioned it in the budget workshop, and I'm going to mention it again. Paseo de Colinas is, everyone knows, much in need of repair. The PCI is somewhere in the 40s and the condition is poor. Staff has gone out there and repaired it and feels confident it will make it over the next few years. I just want to make sure everyone knows it's a priority of mine. I want to make sure that if money falls from the sky or we get a grant, I want that to be one of the first things that we do. So that's on my radar. I want to talk a little bit about the TCA grant. This is kind of a unique response, a unique opportunity for us. So this is over a $1 million grant for habitat restoration, and it's the area between Beacon Hill and Marina Hills. And this was when the toll roads, when they were going to build a toll road to San Clemente, and there was a $28 million set aside, and environmental groups got together with TCA and set this money aside. TCA board has decided to peel off $8 million, and it's open for everyone in the county. So it's going to be highly competitive. So I hope we get it. But peeled off $8 million, and it's open to everyone in the county. So hopefully we'll get it. But I want people to understand that city acreage, that land that we own, is 300 acres, as you mentioned in your staff report. And we're, for $1 million, going to be able to do 15 acres. And what we're doing there is we're planting native plants. And not only does that look more beautiful, it helps with fire resiliency. So it is a public safety measure. That leads me to talking about some of these issues with the trimming. That has been such a big thing since I've been on council. It's probably one of my number one comments is, you know, we have a lot of people who are worried about fires. And of course, we had our own fire here, and then we had the LA fires. And so it's on top of the mind. I would argue that it is probably the number one public safety issue that people are worried about in Laguna Niguel right now is a fire and the brush. And I understand OCFA's 100 feet, and we do. Our staff does diligently follow that very well. If we miss it, someone lets us know, and we go out right away and we get it. So our staff is very good at that. I'd like to take a leadership position on this issue. I'd like to go a little bit further. And I've talked with the city manager a little bit, and there's some concern. In other words, and I've been to the workshops and I've gotten a little bit of education. We don't just go in and bulldozer a hill, right? You don't just get rid of the brush. That's not how you practice fire safety. You really have to plant the native plants in there to build up the hill and to, you know, prevent fires. That's extremely costly, as you note by this grant. It's very costly. But we don't know where in the city can we just chop something down. There might be a place where we can actually bulldozer. There's a side of a hill on the other side of St. Anne and Dana Point. They just trim that right down to the nubs. Why are they able to do that and it's safe? So we don't really know where in our city it's safe to do that. So that's why we're not doing it, right? Because we don't want to destabilize a hillside, for example. So my suggestion would be do a little study, take it out of the contingency fund, do a study and see where in Laguna Niguel on city-owned land can we cut back more brush. So we could do that. I'll just lay it out there. I don't know if it's something that has to be decided tonight, but I'd like to support that in the future. I'd like to support trimming more brush in Laguna Niguel. It is at the top of the minds of our residents, and it is a public safety issue. But we need to do it safely. And so I think in talking with the city manager, it would be prudent to do some kind of a study. We don't know how much it would cost, 50, 75,000, something like that. We have, just so you know, for you to think about, on page 45 of our budget, we have a contingency fund. It's the third line item there. It's got $300,000 in it. So there is money in the budget, should we so choose to decide that in the future. That's all on that topic that I have. And then finally, I want to comment on the budget. Having a 2-year budget, I think, is fantastic. It cuts down on staff prep time, and that makes more staff time available to serve our residents. It's a fantastic process. I'm proud of this budget. I support this budget, and thank you so much for your hard work on it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Councilmember Otto. Mayor Pro Tem Jones.
Thank you. I want to start off by saying that I, too, am 100% behind this 2-year budget. I'm glad we did it. When I came on the city council, I couldn't believe that we were doing a budget every year because of the amount of time and effort it takes for the staff. It takes away from doing other things. So I truly am happy that we're doing a 2-year budget. Obviously, if there's issues, we can always go back in and amend. So even though it's a 2-year budget, there is flexibility if needed. I also want to tip my hat to Director Scott. 18 projects, double what we do normally in a year. I was thinking there might be a couple more projects we can throw in there for you, but I'm going to hold on to those for a little while. So thank you so much. You're going to be very, very busy. This budget has a little bit of everything. It covers our fiscal responsibility, our public safety, maintaining and upgrading the city's existing infrastructure, upgrades to our natural and artificial turfs for the city parks. We're covering just about everything, as well as making sure there's monies to make sure that the residents have a good time. Our summer concerts that Director Harmon's going to be taking care of for us, the holiday parade, the 4th of July celebration, the Sea Country Festival, which is 3 days long in August. And then, of course, we have some events for our veterans and our military. So we have a little bit of everything in this 2-year budget. We are covering everything, and yet we're still maintaining our reserves, as well as spending over our nearly $50 million on those CIP objects, the CIP projects. So thank you all. I'm 100% behind this budget, and I really appreciate everybody's hard work in making this happen. Thank you.
All right. Well, we are proud to deliver to the residents of Laguna Niguel a balanced budget with no tax increases that is responsible with the tax dollars of our residents, but also responsive to the needs of our residents. For anybody just tuning in right now and watching this meeting and thinking this budget just kind of fell into our laps and we're going to approve it, that's not how this works. This is many, many months of preparation. It begins earlier in the year when we have our strategic plan workshop, which is about 5 or 6 hours long. The council members get together with our staff and we decide our policy priorities for the year. Those priorities are then put into a budget that we have a workshop. We had a workshop about a month ago discussing these priorities and how they fit into our budget. And here we are tonight considering this budget. It's the first time we are ever doing a 2-year budget. And I think that's important to note because it allows us to do more long-term planning. It also allows our staff to not have to do all of the work in putting the budget packet together every single year. Now they can do that every other year and spend that time focusing on actually carrying out the priorities that we set in this budget. And so this is an excellent, excellent presentation, as we always have with our staff through the budget, and all the graphics make it very easy to read. I see other cities' budgets. They're very difficult to read. They're very boring. Well, I guess you could say that about any booklet with tons of numbers. I'm an attorney. I'm not a doctor or an engineer, so numbers kind of go over my head sometimes. But our budget is a beautiful one, and our staff does a great job of explaining in detail exactly where your money is going. As you can see, our Public Works Department is very hard at work, especially with some of the priority projects that we have that we're spending a lot of money on, a lot of grants we received for remediation of La Paz, Crown Valley Widening Project, some of the other grants that we received, like the one Councilmember Otto mentioned from TCA. And so our city and our staff is doing a great job to keep Laguna Niguel beautiful. Our number one asset in this city, our number one most expensive asset is our roads. We've got 141 miles of road. We take it very seriously to keep those looking nice and rehabilitating those every few years to try to get our pavement condition index up to 80. We're very close to 80. We'll get there, but that's why our city looks so much more beautiful than other cities you see across the county, because we focus on our roads and we put it on a calendar about when we need to rehabilitate. We don't just wait for it to get worse and then say, gee, that road, it might need to be repaved. We actually have a schedule of these things on when to do it. With regard to weed abatement and brush, yeah, we get a lot of questions about that. I get more questions about that than almost anything else, and it is important that we're doing that. I know OCFA has standards. We are in compliance with those standards, so no problem there, but I've often thought about, can we be doing more with the weed abatement? And so I think that would be a worthy use of our effort. I don't know if that's something we need to approve tonight if we want to do that, or put it in the budget, but maybe perhaps at a future meeting in the near future, we can at least have a staff report on what that would look like, because I know there's a point where you clear too much brush and it creates ground erosion and it starts to affect the ecosystem and all of that. And so I'm just wondering where that line is, and if we could at least study that on city property to see if we can be doing more on city property. City Manager Letourneau.
Yes, we can do that study. We do need to bring in the experts because we don't want to do harm.
Right.
And so we need advice. My guess is this is going to cost about $75,000, which is over my signature authority. So if you're interested in having us do that, I do need your blessing tonight because I've got to redirect those funds from contingency to consulting, and we need to go do an RFP to find the best consultant. And I need to work with our work plan a little bit to work this into the schedule. So if it's something the council's interested in, I would ask that you provide direction tonight so we can go make that happen.
With direction, does that include, would we be expending funds tonight, or are we just asking for a staff
No,
report
you're
to
just
come back
directing
to?
that the funding that will end up being required, we have to do an RFP. So it's my best guess on the amount of money. It is a large undertaking, and the recommendations, I imagine, will be robust. So just direct to have the study done. We'll go out and do the RFP, and then we'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
And that will be the official appropriation of the funds, but tonight you can say the funding for this will come from the contingency budget.
Okay, I think that's a worthy use of our money, based on, I'm having multiple council members point me to look in different directions. Okay, why don't you ask your question?
With all the CIP projects we have in the pipeline, is this feasible anytime soon? I don't want to add too much burden and an important project get pushed down because this became a priority, so.
Well, it was unplanned. We will,
Right.
if it's the council's desire, we will make it happen. So I have not had a chance to talk to the Public Works Director about this, but we will figure out a way. I can't promise you what the timing will be.
Right.
The RFP will take some time to write and prepare.
Yes, it
This is a
will.
little bit unique.
Yes, it is.
So, but if
Okay.
it's the council's desire, we will get it done in a timely manner.
Thank you.
City Manager Letourneau, I guess what I'm getting at is I'm not directing any work to be done just yet. I just want to see if there is work to be done and how feasible that is. I just want to see if there's something we can do more with regard to weed abatement and brush clearing, just to see. I'm not, I guess what I'm asking is, I don't want to put anything more on Public Works plate. So you tell me if this is putting more on Public Works plate.
So it is a project that we did not have in our strategic plan, that we have not planned for this year. I'm telling you, we will find a way to get it done. But in order to find out if there's any more that we can do safely, we're going to have to go do an RFP, get a consultant, and have them do the study. That's going to take some time. But we
Understood.
will make it happen if that's what you need.
Okay. I think it's a worthy use of some of our funds because we get so many questions on this to at least see if we can be doing more with that, especially given all the news of the wildfires and, well, we've been talking about wildfire a lot in different contexts lately. And so I think that would be a good use. I hear Councilmember Otto thinks that would be a good use. We don't have to take a vote on it. We just need at least 2 members to.
No, you need to give me direction to change the
Okay.
budget to do it.
So do I do this before we vote on the budget or take a
You can
motion
just,
after?
I already read all the recommendations. You can say you want to add.
I'll include
We're
that.
going to add to the work plan a study this year on city-owned, I want to be real clear. We're talking about
City-owned.
city-owned property only.
Yes.
And the weed abatement standards we hold ourselves to by OCFA, and if there's any additional work that can be done, and if so, what are the pros and cons of doing that?
Okay, exactly what you just said. I will move to make that item number 9 on the recommendation list. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, does anybody have an objection to that before? Okay, so I guess I will go ahead and if there's no further comments, I will move to pass the staff recommendation, which is the adoption of this budget. And do I need to read the full
No,
resolution?
I already
Okay.
did all that.
All right, so we waived that.
Push the
And
button. Button.
anything further?
No, thanks for your support.
Oh, okay.
I was saying push the button.
Oh.
But I'm on a mic, so you can't
All right,
really
all
whisper,
right.
can you?
No, less talking, more motioning. Okay, so I make the motion, seconded by Councilmember Otto. All in favor of passing the staff recommendation of all 9 items, please vote.
Yes. Thank you for your support on that. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Okay, the motion passes 5-0. All right. So that concludes our public hearing item. We will now move on to City Council, City Manager, and Department reports. I will start with Councilmember Otto.
Thank you. Well, we had a big week this week. The entire city council came to protect the city at the CEC hearing on May 29th. All of us were there for hours, and most of us were there all day, and it was like almost a 12-hour day. So I don't know what the exact count was, but the in-person hearing, I had rough estimate of 165 comments, and only 9 supported the project, and only 2 of them were people, and the other 7 were organizations outside the city. I thought we had a pretty good day. I am so proud of Blessin and the community work that they've done. They represented Laguna Niguel so incredibly well, and I know they're going to continue to do so. I am so optimistic. I have been optimistic about this project from the beginning. And someone asked me the other day, they're like, well, why are you so optimistic? And I'm like, if you don't believe that you can win, then you can't even get there. So you have to believe that you can win this battle. And, you know, when I was a kid, I played soccer, and I played soccer for over 10 years. And I was a midfielder, and the midfielder is the workhorse and kind of a little bit of a strategist, right? Because you have to pass the ball to someone else to kick the goal. And what the activists do is the hard work, right? I had to run up and down the field. If the ball would get kicked back, I'd have to run it all the way back, right? And that's what you have to do in activism. And so I am so proud of Blessin and the hard work that they have done to try to get the ball down the field. And I know we can score the goal in the end, and I am very optimistic that we're going to win this fight. And I think it's important. I think it's important that we all work together to defeat this. As I've said many times, I support renewable energy, but not when it threatens the health and safety of people and property. It's just a terrible idea. My iPad is glitching out here for a second. Sorry. On a lighter note, Councilmember Jennings and I interviewed some incredible students for youth committee. We had 24 applications and could only take 9 positions. So we were so impressed with everyone, and I wish we could take everyone. But I'm so proud of all the students that came out, shared their community service, shared the work that they're doing. Please keep doing the work you're doing. And we welcome the 9 new members in the fall. Looking ahead, apologies, my computer is glitching out here. I want to wish a happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Enjoy a fun, pampered day by your family. And finally, happy Pride Month. Laguna Niguel recognizes Pride to lift our Laguna Niguel LGBTQ community up, to ensure our youth know they are accepted, and to provide a safe community for all. Freedom means freedom for all people. Love and acceptance is paramount in Laguna Niguel, and I will accept nothing less. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Winstead.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. All right. Well, Mayor Pro Tem Johns and I were very happy to attend the 5th grade performance of Hamilton over at George White Elementary School. Congratulations to Mr. Young, his students, and all the parents who supported them. And I have to say that the young actor who performed and did the role of Marquis de Lafayette was outstanding. He had an amazing French accent. He spoke French. It was just phenomenal. So yeah, all the kids did great, but that one, his performance was amazing. We're graduating. Kids are graduating. School's here, or summer's here. So as Alice Cooper famously said, school's out for summer. So people be careful out there. Kids are going to be on their bikes and on sidewalks, so drive a little bit slower. Important to be safe around pools. Drowning can happen. It's silent, so please make sure that everybody is aware. Everybody's on kid duty, kid watch out there with the pools. We don't want any drownings. Kids, teachers, enjoy your summer break. Be safe. And congratulations to the high school graduates. So I know you're going to have excellent careers or educations, whatever it is you choose to do. The world's your oyster, so enjoy.
Thank you, Councilmember Jennings.
Thank you, Mayor. It was a true honor to stand alongside our community at Laguna Niguel's Memorial Day ceremony as we paid tribute to the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. This annual event is a powerful reminder that freedom comes at a cost, and that is our duty to remember and honor those who gave their lives to protect it. I also want to thank all who attended, participated, and helped organize this meaningful ceremony, especially to our local veterans and military families whose courage and sacrifice inspire us all. Laguna Niguel is a city that deeply values patriotism, service, and remembrance. On Memorial Day and every day, we remember and we give thanks. I also want to thank our incredible youth committee applicants. They continue to inspire me by their intelligence, leadership, and civic-minded spirit. It's incredible what these high schoolers have accomplished. They bring fresh ideas and strong voices and a real passion for serving their community. The future is bright knowing that these emerging leaders are eager to get involved and make a difference. I want to extend my sincerest thanks to all the applicants who applied. We had an incredible, strong group this year, and the selection process was not easy. To those who were not selected, please know how grateful we are for your willingness to step forward and share your interest in serving. Your dedication is truly commendable, and we hope to see you involved in other ways in the future. A special thanks to our Park and Rec team for supporting this important program that empowers our youth and strengthens civic engagement in Laguna Niguel. And finally, the battery storage facility public meeting. As Councilmember Otto reiterated that we all attended we stayed the duration of the public meeting. And it is in San Juan Capistrano, but it's our shared city boundary. So I want to make it very clear that the city of Laguna Niguel stands strongly opposed to this project. While we understand the importance of renewable energy and infrastructure, this proposal raises serious concerns about public safety, environmental impacts, and proximity to homes, schools, and natural open space. Our residents deserve to feel safe and protected, and this facility, so close to our community, poses risks that we believe are unacceptable. I want to thank the many Laguna Niguel residents who showed up, spoke out, and made their voices heard. Your participation is powerful and deeply appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Jones.
Thank you. I'll start with the lithium battery issue. We had 3 different things that we have attended or been part of with regards to this since the 28th of May. We did a press conference out at the site with a bunch of the Blessed people. They were there that day. We had a great turnout for that. We had a great turnout on the 29th when we met in person with the CEC. We had state legislators and county and local, and I want to thank our mayor, Ray Genoway. He did an outstanding job of explaining our position and the problems with that lithium battery facility there. He laid out the safety issues and the problems with the report that Compass, the company that wants to put this in place, there omitted or stretched facts on. It laid it out. We did it in a way that wasn't attacking anybody, but explained the safety issues, and I really appreciate how you handled that. It was fantastic. The memorial service, we were honored to be able to be there. It's always really tough to realize that we're here and we have this freedom and we live the way we do because of those who sacrificed their lives on our behalf so that we can do that. So I want to thank the American Legion Post 281 for putting that on. It was a very emotional and very good event. I'll end with, first before I end, George White, that theatrical Hamilton. I go to plays in Laguna Beach and here for our Renaissance one here in Laguna Niguel. These kids, no exaggeration, did as good or better a job than some of those plays that I've gone to there. They were fantastic. Mr. Young, who's retiring this year, spent a lot of his time. He said they started back in September working on this to get this one play done for him. And these 5th graders amazing job. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you for bringing me along on that. Okay, so where I want to go next is the ACCOC, the Association of California Cities, Orange County, just put out their nominations for awards. I want to congratulate our city manager, Tammy Letourneau, and our public works director, Jackie Scott. They were nominated for the 2025 Golden Hub of Innovation Award. City Manager Letourneau was put in for the City Manager of the Year award. She is by far the best city manager, period. If she doesn't win it, I'm going to ask for a recount because there's definitely something wrong with that vote. Our Public Works, Director Scott, I've been dealing with you on issues since I was on Traffic Commission, and you are put in for 2 awards this time, the Water Saving Demonstration Garden and the La Paz Road Landslide Resiliency Project. So congratulations for being nominated. Again, if you don't win, I want to recount. You both truly deserve it. You work extremely hard, and it just shows how hard our staff and our directors and the people that work for them work for our city and what they do. You're constantly being recognized for your work, and it's great when other agencies also recognize you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Johns. And yeah, we better win those awards. The award ceremony is on June 11th at the Nixon Library, and it's going to be a great evening. And again, we've got the best in the biz. I always say that about our staff. We've got the best in all of Orange County, probably in the entire state. And it shows in all of the work that you put forward. And so, yeah, I don't want to get ahead of that, but I'm hoping we're going to come home with the hardware. American Legion Post 281, thank you so much for hosting the Memorial Day event. Thanks to the American Legion Auxiliary for once again providing all the poppies so that everybody during the ceremony can wear them on their lapel in solidarity for those lives who have been lost in service to our nation. Always a wonderful event. I'm so glad that we take time out of our year, really. It's an important calendar day of the year to take time and recognize that. And this year especially because it's the 50th anniversary since the end of the Vietnam War. It's the 80th anniversary since the end of World War II, and I'm forgetting what number anniversary, but it's another milestone since the end of the Civil War. So this year is quite an important year for Memorial Day. So we had a great event there. Boy, I feel like we've been working our tails off in the last couple of weeks. I feel like we're in full campaign mode with this battery facility issue. Wow, I know I personally have been working hard. I know all of my colleagues have been reaching out to residents and people of influence to send letters. I've been reaching out to legislators who were able to send letters of opposition, talk to our friends at ACCOC. They sent a wonderful, strongly written letter of opposition. Spoke to our friends at the Shea Riding Center. They had some really eye-opening statistics about how this doesn't just affect people in the region. There would have to be an evacuation of 1,000 horses in San Juan Capistrano. And when you look at the statistics of what kind of damage that battery facility can do to our region, this really is a South Orange County problem. And so we're bringing everybody together. And so our council was at that meeting from 10 a.m. till the very last speaker at 8:30 p.m. I want to thank Councilmember Jennings for bringing a big bag of snacks for everybody. That was necessary and helpful to get us through the day. As Councilmember Otto said, there were 165 speakers. 95% of those speakers were opposed to this battery facility. And for me personally, it was a great honor and somewhat of a burden to speak on behalf of all 65,000 residents to the California Energy Commission and lay out our concerns. I thought the city of San Juan Capistrano did an excellent job laying out the concerns, especially with the quality of the land. And gee, I wonder why nobody's ever built there before. Well, you look at the creek that's eroding and it's changing paths along there, and how The stability of the soil is not that great. And so they did a good job laying all that out. We did an excellent job laying out the safety concerns about if there were a 2-mile radius evacuation from the site, that would require, in Laguna Niguel alone, not including other cities, that would require the evacuation of 37,000 residents. That's just a 2-mile radius. If you expand the radius to 8 miles, like the evacuation radius was at Moss Landing, then that number gets up into the hundreds of thousands of people that would need to evacuate South Orange County. And so this is a serious public safety concern. And I made this next comment kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's really resonated with people to show you how much support is, or how much opposition there is to this project. At the hearing, I said, I compliment ENGIE, the energy company. I compliment them in one regard, is that they have been able to do something that nobody thought was possible. They have actually managed to unite Republicans and Democrats to be on the same side of an issue. And I kind of said that tongue-in-cheek at first, but it actually resonated. A lot of people said, yeah, actually, now I see it. Now I see nearly every single elected official in the area, on the right or the left, has come together and said, this is just bad for our region. It's bad for our community. It's bad policy. And if the CEC were to approve this project, I think it would really damage the trust between the people of the state and the California Energy Commission, which has been given tremendous power to override local control, to override a city zoning authority. And they need to deny this project for the sake of public safety. I am really encouraged, having met with a couple of the commissioners, having heard how that hearing went. I thought that was a great first step. We're going to have more hearings. Ultimately, the end of this process is probably going to be around January or February of next year, when we'll get a final vote from the California Energy Commission. But I thought we kind of made a Batman-style entrance. It was grandiose. It was really united in opposing this project. And so one person that I would like to point out that said some really important things, a resident here in Laguna Niguel by the name of Paul Corey. He is the CFO of a group in San Juan Capistrano called the Ecology Center. And he explained to the commission that ENGIE, this battery facility company, approached the Ecology Center and offered them a 7-figure donation, $1 million, if the Ecology Center would come out and support this battery facility. And Paul Corey said they couldn't take the money. They turned it down because this facility stands for everything they are against. And it is far too great of a risk to put this facility on that space in San Juan, a mere 1,500 feet from homes. They turned down the money. And in my view, that moral clarity is a profile in courage. And I really compliment them, because we know that this battery company has trying to purchase support from other entities. One of those entities is the South Orange County Community College District. Now, the Community College District was offered a $750,000 grant from ENGIE, and they took the money. In a unanimous vote at their trustee meeting in April, they took the money, and now they are completely silent about whether they support or oppose this battery facility, at a time when nearly every elected official and every public agency is coming out and opposing this facility on the grounds of public safety. The Community College Board is silent, and they've taken $750,000 from ENGIE. So I've been in communication with the Community College Board. I've been pointing out exactly what they did and why they should right this wrong. And I'm still in communication with them, and I hope they will right this wrong. I know a lot of people in our community have been talking about this, and you should continue expressing your concerns to the trustees of that board, because what they did is absolutely wrong, and they need to stand with us to defeat this battery facility proposal. So on a happier note, really looking forward to attending graduation on Thursday. It's one of the best times of the year. I'll personally be attending the graduation ceremony at my alma mater, Aliso Niguel High School. I know others will be attending other high schools in the area, and really want to say congratulations to all the graduates and their families, because this is a really important time of year as new beginnings sprout, and we have all the graduation parties and summer concerts in the park. And so I'm really looking forward to not only our graduation on Thursday, but our first summer concert at Crown Valley Park on Friday with the James Kelly Band. Gives me another excuse to wear my hat and boots. So that's all I've got for you tonight. Thanks so much. City Manager Letourneau.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for all of your support and kind words about the award. The fact that all of you support us so much and you want us to win is winning. I feel like we've already won. So thank you very, very much. It's very touching. In carrying on the tradition of talking about the CEC and the proposed battery storage plant, I wanted to provide some additional information about the process and where we go from here. So as we all know, on April 30th, the CEC deemed the application complete. And then they prepared what's called a notice of preparation on the proposed EIR. And that's the first hearing that it started last Thursday for 11 hours and continued today from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Continuous comments, which it's my understanding, I couldn't participate and listen to the whole thing. I think they were all in opposition today, 100% opposition today. And that was virtually. So now what happens, June 4th is the last day to submit public comments on the notice of preparation for the EIR. I want to be really clear about that. It's the last day for comments on what should be included in the draft EIR that the staff is preparing. That does not mean we want people to stop writing letters. We don't. And letters continue to need to be uploaded to the docket. And the link to the docket can be found on our website. If you pull up our website, there's a big button right there on the first page, and you can click on that and you can upload your comments to the CEC's docket. So I want to make that distinction between when they say they're going to stop taking public comments, that's only on the preparation of the EIR, not on the project. And we want people to keep sharing. What's going to happen next is they're going to prepare the draft environmental impact report and what they're calling a staff assessment. And they're expecting that will be made public and available in the fall. And that's when they will, after that is completed, the draft is completed, they will have their second local public hearing. As soon as we know when all of that information is available and where that's going to be, we will share it with everybody. And then the deadline for the CEC to make a decision on this project is January 25th. And that will likely be at the CEC's headquarters in Sacramento. So we have a little ways to go here. It's important that we keep the momentum going. We are going to be sending out a special edition of the Beacon of our newsletter. We're going to continue to share all of this on social media in all of our publications so people continue to share their thoughts while we're in this draft EIR process. That's very, very important. So I just wanted to share that information. And I'm going to turn it over to Parks and Recreation Director Harmon to talk about we're going to end and all the fun we're going to have this summer in Laguna Niguel.
Thank you, City Manager Letourneau, and Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. I do want to provide a friendly reminder to the community that we are kicking summer off this Friday at the Crown Valley Park Amphitheater with the first summer concert of the year. Beginning at 6 a.m. on Friday morning, you can start setting up your blankets and chairs because later that evening at 6:30 p.m., the James Kelly Band takes the stage to play country and rock and roll hits. I do suggest getting there early because the James Kelly Band played at the Sea Country Festival last year, and it was an excellent and well-attended show. Shuttles will be available beginning at 5:30 p.m. from here at City Hall, and food and dessert will be available for purchase at the event. On behalf of the Parks and Recreation Department, we are so excited to see you all there on Friday, and thank you for supporting the 2025 Summer Concert Series. This concludes my report.
That's all the reports this evening, Mayor.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I actually ran into James Kelly of the James Kelly Band a few days ago in the parking lot of the shopping center, and he is stoked to be opening up our summer concert series. So really looking forward to that. All right. And with that, our meeting is adjourned at 8:30. Thank you so much.